Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live nightly on Bucks Report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. We had some tech issues. We're back. Thank you to the great Al Keck. Catch his show tomorrow night, the Al Keck Show, live on Bucks Report at 9 o'clock. We were just discussing the Patrick Mahomes thing, but instead of Al, we'll give him a break for the night because he's got a show tomorrow with some great guests. And I'm telling you right now, the guys that he has lined up are unbelievable. Definitely tune in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on our analyst for Bucks Report, Mr. Nick Citro. Welcome to the Evolution. How you doing tonight, my friend?
What's going on? I feel a little bit poor today after Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million contract, but besides that, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to be Patrick Mahomes, or at least the next couple years here. But I mean, look, 10 years, $503 million, the biggest contract for any professional athlete ever. He's only 24 years old. He'll be 25, I believe, in September. I mean, what do you think of this?
We haven't seen anything like this in baseball. I think Manny Machado signed 10 years, $350 million. I think there was it Bryce Harper signed close to $500 million, but baseball is obviously a different animal. In football, we haven't seen anything like this since maybe Donovan McNabb. I think he signed close to a 10-year deal a long, long time ago, but I mean, the money wasn't even close. You kind of have to weigh the two options. It's, do you pay your elite quarterback the money that they're going to owe, or do you let them walk and play the rookie contract game? And I mean, I think there's arguments for both sides, but the rookie contract game is a risky business. I mean, you better nail your quarterback every 4 to 5 years or you're out the door. And I think, teams are going to realize, or quarterbacks are going to realize, like, okay, this team just churns through QBs. I don't want to play for them anymore. So, I mean, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, we had our good buddy Sean the Sports Don, who used to be a co-host of the Sports Web in a galaxy far, far away at another radio station, say, well, basically, does that mean Chris Jones is gone? I mean, in your opinion, with signing Mahomes, does that mean that Chris Jones is basically gone at this point?
I wouldn't say that necessarily, because Mahomes still has 2 years on his original deal. He's only being paid $5 million in 2020 and $24 million in 2021. So if they want to pay Chris Jones a front-loaded contract, front-loaded the first 2 years of the first year or whatever it is, I think they can still do it. Is he going to get 5-6 years, elite money? Probably not. So we'll see what the Chiefs want to do. But if I had to put, money on it, I'd say he's probably not going to come back.
All right, Nick, let's go out to the phone lines. Matt Colson from Oklahoma City, welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind, boss?
Glad to see you made it back.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. Can you hear everybody? Everybody can hear each other?
Everybody's loud and clear, and the picture's even better on the Facebook Live on TV. So You did something.
I
Good.
did something. Well, I do something. I don't know what it was, but I did something. Go ahead, buddy.
So can I go get DNA tested to see if I'm related to Patrick Mahomes? I mean, 2% ought to be able to get me a couple thousand, right?
I mean, I'll tell you right now, who's ever his significant other, good job. And for Patrick Mahomes, don't mess that up because you have to pay half.
Just his high school sweetheart.
Well, there you go. I mean, high school sweetheart. She stuck with him. Don't mess it up. All right. Happy life. Don't be like Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan or those other athletes where they take half. I mean, $503 million, I guess can go quick, but not really. 10 years, 503. I mean, it's amazing at this point. $50 million a year for a quarterback that, by all accounts has been everything everything and more. There's no way that the Chiefs thought he was going to be this good, this fast, but yet they put a team around him. He's been able to make extraordinary plays with consistency. He had the injury, I believe, last year, right? You had the injury last year and still.
Yeah, he hurt his knee on a sneak.
Right, and still won a Super Bowl with, having multiple interceptions. First time that's happened since who? Tom Brady. Go for it.
Well, the one thing going to the Tiger Woods marriage and Michael Jordan and whatever.
Sure.
There's an ego thing that comes with being a super fantastic athlete like that. And that woman comes to sidebar. And it's just that happens with everybody who makes a whole lot of money.
Right.
Like. But getting away from that, nobody wanted Patrick Mahomes. What did he slipped down to what? 10th pick or something like 10th quarterback pick?
Yeah.
Something of that nature.
Amazing.
So that means that 31 other teams really screwed up. And the Bucs can't get one that we can keep for 3 years. I was talking to Ben Cornette earlier today about this contract. And, since 77, the longest we've ever kept a quarterback was up to the 5th-year contract. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I think that a Bucs quarterback has never gained a second contract ever in the history of this org. Is that crazy, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, Jameis got the 5th-year option, right? But not technically a second contract. So, I mean, it's kind of been the running joke for a long time for Bucs fans. And I think if Tom Brady wasn't here, we would have gotten the second contract from Jameis, I think. But, I mean, so if Brady plays out his 2 years and he gets another contract, do you consider that 2 contracts, or does it have to be a rookie getting a second deal?
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be comparative when you come in an all-star and then you extend yourself because you had success. That doesn't equate to the same thing as Patrick Mahomes coming out of the draft, basically overlooked 50 times, to becoming the richest man in the NFL. What is that going to do for Dak Prescott and all these other up-and-comers that are either on a short into their rookie deal or taking that, whatever Dak Prescott, the phrase that's just skipping my mind. But
right. I mean, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. If he can win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys here in the next couple of years, and look, I know it's laughable because the Cowboys, they do what the Cowboys always do. They always falter when it comes to the later months, but they definitely have the talent. You have Amari Cooper, you have Gallup, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have a pretty good running back in Ezekiel Elliott. They seem like they have a lot of talent. What is always holding them back? Who knows at that point? It's got to be consistency. So definitely Prescott has an opportunity to earn a big-time contract. And Nick, you've got to believe with the market the way it is, I get it, Patrick Mahomes is a special quarterback, but as we've seen before with this quarterback market, it can get it can definitely be plentiful for players that are looking for a second contract.
Yeah, it's basically the next quarterback that gets paid sets the market. I mean, we saw it with Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, now you're seeing it with Mahomes. And the Mahomes contract is actually really interesting because it's not set up like a regular deal. So the Chiefs actually set this up where they have to opt in every year. So essentially, let's say like right before the 2025 season, they have to opt into 2026. So it's kind of like a bunch of 1-year deals stacked up together, and I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. And especially with the guaranteed money, I think what was he guaranteed? 150 million. I mean, people are like, "Oh my God, he's getting paid 500 million, but he's only guaranteed 150 million." I mean, that's more guaranteed money than you've ever seen in the NFL. So, if he lives up to all his incentives, which is unlikely because the incentives are, I think he has to win 10 Super Bowls and 10 MVPs. I mean, that's obviously not going to happen. Then he gets the 503 million. But I mean, let's say he wins 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. He's going to make 450 million as long as he stays healthy. So, I mean, how can you not like it for the Chiefs? He's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you have to really take in consideration here is, Matt, is when you sign this contract, what is it going to do to this team going forward? Is it going to be detrimental? Is it going to be a case where the Atlanta Falcons signed Matt Ryan to a big-time deal and they lost some key veterans? Is it going to be a case where the Baltimore Ravens win a Super Bowl, sign Joe Flacco to a big deal, and they lose some key veterans? That's what you have to look at. But look, at the end of the day, he's 24, 25 years old. Most of these quarterbacks that sign that 10-year deal don't see the duration of it. But I kind of feel like the sky's the limit with Patrick Mahomes. Anything else, buddy?
Well, if you're Andy Reid, you got to feel pretty safe that you're the ruler of your own destiny at this point, because for the rest of his career, he's got one of the best quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. The kid stays in one piece and does the same thing year after year after year.
Right.
I hope it's not a fluke, but I'm just curious how it's going to affect the market in general, because no other team's going to sign a 10-year deal.
Right.
And these quarterbacks, if Jameis does well and ends up re-signing with the team after next season to start somewhere else like Teddy Bridgewater did, what's he going to expect for money? He went from 30 here at Tampa, and with this thing setting a high bar mark, he could be going up to $50 million just to take a starting position.
Right.
With tenure, which is kind of weird. But I don't think the Chiefs built this contract to where they would be in the same bind that Atlanta was in, or the Ravens, like you talked about. I think they structured it in such a way that it's kind of incentive-lated.
Sure.
And it starts out at 400 million possible, and then it goes to something like 500 and something if he hits everything, like Nick was saying. But I don't think in real money that's on paper. That's just pie in the sky target.
All right, good stuff, Matt.
How that works.
Yeah, thanks a lot for calling the evolution of sports talk television. All right, boss?
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good. Good stuff there from Matt. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Nick Citro here, our analyst for Bucks Report. Just want to go back to the Mahomes deal. Basically, he tweets out, Chiefs Kingdom, you've been with me since the beginning, from rookie year to becoming a starter to the unconventional, to doing whatever it takes to win showdowns. You've helped us come back from injury. You helped us come back from deficits, multiple deficits. You helped us overcome adversity to become Super Bowl champs, and we're staying together for a long time. We're chasing a dynasty. And once again, Patrick Mahomes, 10 years, total of $503 million, of course, added on to the 2 years he already has. So it's about a 12-year deal. And with his numbers last year, of course, 50 touchdowns, or a couple of years ago, 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 26-5, although he played not the best game in the Super Bowl, once again, throwing multiple interceptions, but he was able to overcome it because making that play to Tyreek Hill definitely changed the complexion of that game versus the 49ers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of quarterbacks now are, I think Paul Burgess in the chat, I just read his comment, Lamar Jackson's licking his fingers. I mean,
Right.
Dak Prescott's going to want, he's not going to get Mahomes money, but all these guys are going to say, listen, you're giving me 8 years, $250 million, or I'm not signing. So this is good for every quarterback in the market. Jameis, he's going to be looking for a contract next year. You got Prescott, Wentz, Lamar Jackson. I mean, all these guys are going to get paid. Deshaun Watson. So the quarterback market is going to absolutely explode after Mahomes, and we'll see if these guys keep getting double-digit years, or if they try to front load contracts. We'll see what they do. But this is still the most unique contract in NFL history.
Absolutely. If you want to comment on that contract, if you want to comment about signing a waiver, are you going to try to opt out? Let's get into that a little bit. We talked about the waiver system. Some fans willing to sign it, some fans not necessarily. And then this comes out from Pro Football Talk. The Tennessee Titans are giving their season ticket holders the opportunity to opt out. They're also stopping payments. But we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's go out to the phone lines. Johnny Dean, the professor, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. How you doing, my friend?
All right, I'm doing all right. I think we're seeing a change in football, the way it's going to be ran from now on.
Okay.
I think we're going to have these big contract quarterbacks in their first contracts, beyond the rookie contract. But I see a lot of teams looking at that and saying, well, you know what? They're not going to be able to pay that third contract. So we'll just wait around. And when they get cut or have to leave the team for financial reasons, we'll just pick those guys up. And I think, like the Bucs were doing with Brady, Rodgers might be a next Buccaneer, and they might just do the rent a quarterback thing.
Well, it's certainly possible.
I could see that being a trend across the league, actually.
Right, because the Bucs have never been able to develop a young quarterback, and then they've never signed a young quarterback to a second-year deal. And of course, that I think a lot of Chiefs fans right now are rejoicing, because I don't really think that the Chiefs, the organization, or even the fans knew how good this kid was. But he's definitely very good, and he could be very good for a long time. And he's exactly right. The dynasty opportunity is there. The only thing I worry about is with that amount of money, how much does it take away from the team going forward? Do you lose?
That's what I'm saying, basically,
right.
Is I can see maybe 2 contracts with these teams if they're going to spend that kind of money. But after $450 million, where do you go?
Yeah.
They're not going to give him a bigger contract. So I don't see Mahomes being a career chief. I don't see. We know Aaron Rodgers is he's fixing to hit the road.
Right.
Right.
Well, we would assume, yeah.
And I'm sure Lamar Jackson's going to want to get paid. And how long is he going to stay there after his big payout? Right.
Well, there's only been several quarterbacks that have done it. You have Donovan McNabb, who signed a 12-year deal in 2002. Of course, he eventually got traded to the Washington Redskins. You have Brett Favre, who signed a lifetime contract, 10 years,
we're
100.
talking a lot of different big time difference in the amount of money there, though.
Sure.
I mean, this is a $500 million contract.
Right. But the point is, you're exactly right. Most likely he's not going to. If anybody sees the full duration of it, I think it's Mahomes because of his age. But these other quarterbacks, they kind of signed it, in their mid, prime. They didn't sign it right at the beginning of their career. But you're exactly right. There may be teams out there that may just go pick up a veteran for a couple years if they have the team built around them.
Right. That's basically what I'm saying. But Mahomes' career is going to continue. It's just not going to continue with the Chiefs because they're not going to be able to beat that $450 million contract, the next contract.
Right.
You see what I'm saying here?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying with the rent a quarterback thing. It's going to that contract has changed the league.
Oh yeah, but they have 10 years to contemplate that unless they really get into salary cap hell. And then at the end of the day, Johnny, you've had to sign him to that deal because he is your quarterback. He's 24, 25-year-old quarterbacks don't grow on trees that have already won a Super Bowl MVP, an NFL MVP. I mean, honestly,
I'm not arguing that point
right,
at all.
Right. I don't know if he's going to move on unless the Chiefs decide, you know what, either his skills have basically deteriorated, they're not as good as they used to be, which is certainly a possibility if he takes hits and gets injuries because of his style of play, which is definitely out there, or the fact that you're so cap strapped that basically you're considering going out and getting a veteran or drafting somebody else. But I think
you have to consider the other trend that's going on in football because of the way quarterbacks are protected. They play a lot longer also.
Sure. Well, there you go. So I think it's win-win in all situations. It's just bad for, the rest of the AFC because, look, you got Tom Brady, who's already moved on to the NFC. But look at the AFC at this point. You have Kansas City, you have Baltimore, and then who else? Tennessee. Who knows if they're a flash in the pan or not? Who else is really coming out there and is going to compete with Kansas City? Kansas City may be a dynasty that you're looking at.
Well, I honestly think that West Division is pretty strong, man.
Yeah. Well, I tell you right now, it's it'll be definitely interesting. It's already been an interesting year.
Can't overlook the Chargers because the team is solid. I don't know what they're going to do with that quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback. I mean, that's the reason why they're not going to the playoffs.
But then again, we've seen so many teams go to the playoffs without a quarterback.
Yeah,
Look at the
Tyrod Taylor and Justin. I've got a bet with somebody, so I'm biased to that with Alex Fleming. But I don't think the Chargers make the playoffs because of that quarterback situation.
I think that's going to be a very competitive division this year.
Could be.
And the quarterback situation is the NFL has got to sit down and really figure this out because I believe the quarterback's pay should be like the coach's pay. It shouldn't count against the cap, or it should be a whole separate part of the cap because it's killing teams, man. You can't get quality players and keep them on your team and pay your quarterback $200-300 million and eat up the cap in one spot, you know? Did I lose you?
No. You didn't lose me. I'm just turning up the volume, make sure it's loud enough for everybody. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And that's the tricky situation with signing a quarterback to a big deal. But that's what happened today with Patrick Mahomes. 10 years, $503 million. And you're exactly right. It changes the quarterback market forever. Good stuff, Johnny Dean. Anything else?
I think they're kind of pushing the NFL into a position where they're going to have to look at that eventually.
Well, they may. Or
right, that's it for me.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. All right, good stuff there. Johnny Dean, the professor. Open phone line 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Nick Steecher, our analyst here. Like I said, we talked about the contract there. You've been receiving some criticism on Twitter, and I just want to address it. I almost feel like you're exactly right about this, with everybody making a big deal about Tom Brady working out, and I think that's really disappointing. And I get it, the 6 Super Bowls and everything else, but there have been other quarterbacks here, Nick, that have worked out, and yet the national media stays silent. There have been other quarterbacks in the NFL that have worked out, and yet Pro Football Talk, who seems like they have something against Tom Brady, I guess it's Mike Florio, because they didn't like the fact that Brady went to Tampa, stay silent with the others. So I think you're definitely on to something.
Well, you have people that are saying, and I've had this from multiple people, well, Tom Brady is a 6-time Super Bowl champion, so obviously he's going to get the most flack. And that makes sense. He's a polarizing figure, but what does Super Bowls have to do with health and safety concerns due to a pandemic? I mean, you have Derek Carr, you have Russell Wilson. I mean, when Russell Wilson was working out with Antonio Brown, there was, 4 articles about it? When Tom Brady's working out with his teammates, there's a helicopter flying over, ESPN's covering for 4 hours, and Mike Florio writes 10 articles on it. So, right. I mean, the scrutiny is not even close to equal. I think the national media touches on, Derek Carr, was practicing here and there, but they just report, okay, these quarterbacks are practicing. It's nothing compared to Tom Brady, where it's more like, well, should Tom Brady be doing this? Is he risking his health, his teammates' health? Is he setting a bad example? And I understand where people are coming from, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I mean, and then people are saying, well, you can't, what's the phrase? Can't have your cake and eat it too, as referring to, wanting the Bucs to be on the national scale. And people saying, well, you can't be upset when the press is negative. I absolutely can be upset if it's negative. I want the national media to cover Levante David. I want them to cover JPP. Shaq Barrett deserves an All-Pro, and he didn't get it. I want the coverage to build up the players that have not been given the recognition. I don't want, Tom Brady, he's doing this bad. He's doing this bad. Man, you're getting me on a soapbox here now. It's just, it's incredibly frustrating to kind of listen to for the past 2 months. So.
No, I agree. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the web heads here, read what these guys have to say. Matt Colson, well, let's get the show on the road. Absolutely. What happened? We're back. Tech issues, Wi-Fi issues, not on my, and just some tech issues sometimes from Facebook. It happens. Welcome back to this. Rick Hughes, only Peter Blake, laugh out loud. There you go. No more dramatic pauses. It'll make all scared. The show died again. He's back. Absolutely. Where Casey gets all that money. Who knows at this juncture where they got all that money? Just got back from an 8-day vacation and a cottage on the Halls River, swimming in the spring and kayaking. Mike, welcome back to the Evolution. Did you see the shot Shaq took at the Bucs on Instagram? What's that?
I did not see that. I didn't see that.
Dylan, maybe you call in 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. You must have fixed something because even the video is clear. Well, again, it happens.
It's just my beautiful face. I think that's probably the difference.
That's what it is. I every night. No nonsense, Nick. He's back in the house. Absolutely. It's like the old days, Nick. You know, I kind of like when you came on almost every night and we talked about the draft. I know you could talk more than draft because if you don't follow this guy on Twitter, which, by the way, go ahead and promote yourself. If you're not following this guy on Twitter and you like the drama that's on Facebook, but it's even more there, go and follow him.
I like to think of it as controlled drama rather than just like reckless people yelling at each other like you see on social media. But I'm going to promote, if you want to win a signed Vita Vea helmet, go to my Twitter. I have it pinned at the top. All you have to do is retweet, follow Bucks Report, which you're probably already doing. And I'm going to pick randomly the people that qualify just through a number generator. If it lands on you, I'm just sending you the free helmet. I also have another one on the way because this one was so successful. And this player is, I'm going to give a hint to it, but I got to think of a good one. He is synonymous with a luxury vehicle. We'll go with that. If you can guess it in the chat, I guess I'll just give it to you.
A luxury vehicle, synonymous with a luxury vehicle. Okay. All right. Let's see. About two different situations, though. Very much different. Mike says $40 million per year. It's actually 50.3. Is that right? $50 million a year?
Yes, it is 50.3.
I'm off of 10 now. Maybe he just feels the Bucs have the money, but they're not paying him. Ben Cornett, Mahomes is going to get other quarterbacks paid well the next few years. I mean, who's the next guy? Is it Dak? Is it Lamar Jackson? In your opinion, who's the guy that gets this big time deal and takes advantage of the market right now with the quarterback like Mahomes getting paid?
The next big deal, I would say, is probably, man, I don't know if it's going to be Lamar Jackson because you could wait one, maybe 2 off seasons before you do anything.
Sure.
I think Dak Prescott is underrated, and I say underrated because people like to pile on him and trash him, and I don't think he really deserves that scrutiny. I mean, what did you say before? 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions?
Yeah.
I mean, he's never really had wide receiver weapons until Amari Cooper. I get he's had Zeke, the running game, the offensive line. I mean, he made it to the playoffs, I believe. Did they beat the Seahawks that year? Was it 2 years ago? I can't remember exactly, but he's not a scrub. So I don't know why people get, down on Dak Prescott. I think he'll be the next big deal. It's not going to be Mahomes, but it's going to be a quarterback deal in the NFL, and that's going to be big. So I'm going to go with Dak Prescott.
All right, Dak Prescott. There you go. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the big board from Canada. Let's ask him what he thinks about this big deal from Patrick Mahomes. There, the big board from Canada. Welcome to the Evolution. And wouldn't you like to be Patrick Mahomes for at least 1 year, right? Or 1 day?
Oh, I would love to have Patrick Mahomes for a year, but for 10 years? Oh, that's a little much, don't you think?
$503 million. Of course, it carries over with the 2 years they already picked up, and it's a total of $50 million a year. Just absolutely insane money. And I kind of wonder here, Andrew, and you're looking at your big board there, does this affect Chris Jones re-signing with the Kansas City Chiefs and other players, maybe like a Tyreek Hill? Did Tyreek Hill already get his contract extension, Nick and Andrew?
I do believe so. He got his 3-year, if I am correct. Nick, you're closer to the laptop than I am right now.
Yeah, I'm about to plug it in. I believe he did get a deal recently. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, so he's paid through 2022. They have a potential opt-out in 2021. So he's going to be owed $17 million in 2020 with actually not a lot of dead cap. So in 2021, the dead cap's only $5 million. 2022, it's only $2 million. So, I mean, if you want to cut ties with Tyreek Hill, you can do it. I wouldn't recommend it since he's an elite wide receiver in the NFL and he's got chemistry. But if you need to, the option's there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking at this point, and but I feel like there's going to be somebody that's going to get cut, and that's what always happens, guys, with quarterbacks that get those big time contracts. They get those big time contracts, and then basically you have to let key veterans go or players go, and that's where the struggle begins. In your opinion, Big Board, do you feel like the Chiefs can continue this success of where it could be a dynasty, much like the New England Patriots? Or are we kind of, looking into the crystal ball too much?
Well, for the next 10 years, $50 million, we may as well just guarantee to Patrick Mahomes. Now, they've done some smart stuff in the draft by going after, Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the first-round pick. It was in the second or third round that they went after a player that's a little borderline with some of the off-field stuff, but his talent is there for sure. So they're doing technically the right things to replace some of the veterans on that team that are going to be asking for money, or they're going to have to start cutting anyway. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu there for at least 2 years with MVP caliber talent and contribution on that defense. Chris Jones is going to get traded. Or he's going to walk. They're probably going to try and get as much as they possibly can for him, but there's absolutely no way that this guy's getting $20 million. I mean, you got Ngakwe, who's having issues in Jacksonville getting his contract. So I do not see Chris Jones getting his due diligence at all. But Kansas City for the next, at least say 3 to 5 years, is in a good position where they're getting the 28th to 32nd pick in the first round if they don't trade it every year to bring in talent, and that right there is, what you need to replace the veteran leadership or not leadership, but replace the veteran contracts. And if you need more weapons, Sammy Watkins doesn't reside. Hardman wants, $15 million a year. You got to let Tyreek Hill go. You can go get talent at the end of the first round that not many other teams are going to take the chance on. So Kansas City has upside in the next 3 to 5 years for sure. They're always going to be there. Mm-hmm. And if anything, this is going to start ticking off Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, because all of those quarterbacks are in the AFC. So all of them are now going to have to go through Patrick Mahomes in order to get to the Super Bowl. So I would actually start looking for other quarterbacks to want to go to the NFC, kind of like what Tom Brady did. Because not necessarily saying that the pathway is going to be easier, but there's less elite quarterbacks that are in the NFC. So someone like Winston, if you get the opportunity to take Drew Brees' spot in New Orleans, you're laughing, dude. There's a lot of different opportunities in the NFC for a lot of these quarterbacks that, in the next 2 or 3 years is going to be good. NFC, wide open after Tom Brady and the Bucs win their Super Bowl, but AFC, Patty Mahomes has got that thing on lockdown, but there is some hella good games up and coming for sure.
Absolutely. We're on with the big board himself from Canada, Mr. Andrew Fulbear, and of course, Nick Citro, our analyst here for Bucs Report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. This from Bucky Brooks, and he was naming the best starting 5, basically the skilled positions out of the top 5. He has the Bucs at number 2. And what he says, guys, is Tom Brady is stepping into a situation that can enable him, and this is from Bucs Wire, Colin Luata. Again, Bucky Brooks from NFL.com, stepping into a situation that could enable him to put up numbers comparable to his 2007 MVP campaign, where he had a 68.9 completion percentage, nearly 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 117.2 passer rating. Evans and Godwin are arguably the league's best 1-2 punch on the perimeter, with the collective combination of size, speed, and athleticism that makes them so hard to contain. Gronkowski, Howard, and Brate are a formidable trio at tight end with the collection of interchangeable skills that drive defensive coordinators crazy. When Bruce Arians unveils a variety of 12, which would be 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and 13, 1 running back, 3 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver personnel packages, if Brady has still enough gas in the tank to play at a high level, this offense could light up scoreboards. Agree?
Yes. And first of all, Godwin and Evans are not arguably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. They are the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, and it's not arguable. Second of all, you said that they are the Buccaneers were the second best in skill position.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know who you're putting above them. You've got Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Gronk, one of the best tight ends, the two best 1-2 punch at wide receiver. I guess you could arguably say, well, I guess it's not arguable. Ronald Jones I think he's going to be above average this year. He posted another video on Instagram of him working out, and he has worked on his hands a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ronald Jones has a better year in the passing game. I know he did well in screens and sort of easier passing plays for a running back, but I want to see him split out wide. Gronk split out wide, Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, you can really open up this offense. I would say, the Chiefs are the only team you can put above the Bucs for skill position players, but I don't think they have the wide receiver talent the Bucs have. I mean, Sammy Watkins, a former first-round pick, has not lived up to his potential at all. The Bucs, in my mind, are the best skill position team in the NFL, and the Chiefs are probably right behind them. And then after that, I mean, man, it gets. I think it's a pretty big teardrop. So the thing is, with the Chiefs, I'm kind of changing the direction here. How are you going to pay now? With Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyrann Mathieu. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back they drafted. You pick up his fifth-year option in a few years. You're going to have to pay him. You're going to let him go. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are, contracts are running up. Tyreek Hill is going to want another extension. Sammy Watkins is going to want another extension. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs navigate through cap room. And they're probably going to have to do it, through the draft and hope that they get lucky as, let's say that they can't pay Travis Kelce. They're probably going to have to draft a tight end and hope they can pay him cheap. And that's probably going to be their model moving forward. But, we're just going to have to wait and see. There's nothing like this contract.
Yeah, there's nothing like this contract. Andrew, I mean, look, he talks about the skilled positions, and the number one team guys would be the Cleveland Browns. According to him, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham Jr., of course, you've got Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper, who I forgot about as a tight end there. No wonder David Njoku wants a trade. But, how do you feel about this? I mean, he's talking about Brady returning to that excellence where he had 50 touchdowns in that 2007 year. But I almost feel like here, Big Board, if you look at it, if he can get good protection and if he has anything left in that tank, which we think he does, the sky's the limit for Brady.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is Bruce Arians' offense. This is something that a lot of people have wanted to see. Is just one of the better quarterbacks out there. Excuse me, in Bruce Arians' system alone. I mean, he's had, Ben Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning. He's got to train them up kind of as the offensive coordinator, but this is now his full team. And now he gets the GOAT, and he gets the guy to actually go out there and be one of the leading members of this team. And he's got the best talent all around. There's really nothing else that Tom Brady could ask for. There's really nothing else that Buccaneer fans could ask for. This is one of the best talent teams all around. I understand what he's talking about with Cleveland. I mean, I'm just writing down some of the talent that you got, some of the talent that you were saying here. And if you look at some of the players that they drafted, I mean, they drafted arguably the second best tight end overall ranking in the draft. They, I think, fell to him in the third or fourth round, or fell to them in the fourth round. So they got three tight ends who could possibly do pretty damn good. I mean, yeah, Njoku wants to get traded. And if they do, then they're just going to stock up and get more talent eventually. So, yeah, I see why Cleveland's number one. But, I mean, do people forget that Denver is loaded nothing up front? It's just loaded up front on the offense. I mean, Dallas has got nothing but talent up front as well, and probably one of the best offensive linemen besides I was losing at the Colts there. So it's going to be interesting for sure. But I mean, the overall talent in Tampa is arguably the best in the league. I mean, Cleveland went 6-10 or 7-9 last year.
I think they went 6-10. I can't remember exactly.
They were highly disappointing. That's what you take out of
They were the off-season Super Bowl champions, if you will.
Right.
Yes. And before the season started, a lot of people had Tampa Bay going at least 9-7, 10-6. People had Cleveland going to the Super Bowl, all because they traded for Odell Beckham. Now, if anything, what people said about Green Bay last year is they were a 13-3 team that was, supposed to be at least 10-6, but looked a lot better than what they were supposed to be. Cleveland this year is not going to get the credit that they deserve necessarily, and maybe not make the playoffs, but they're going to do damage to good teams when it matters. They'll lose to bad teams, yeah, because bad teams have more to play for. Cleveland is playing for Baker Mayfield right now, and Baker can throw games away when it is meaningless. That's just his personality. But Tampa Bay's got the GOAT. Tampa Bay's got overall completions. There's no hole in Tampa really anymore. There's the backups. That's about it. It's Tampa. It's Tampa, guys. Come on now.
All right. So what do you guys think here? Let's open the phone line again. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Is Bucky Brooks correct? Could Brady return to that 2007 form where he had 50 touchdowns and 8 interceptions? Get on the phone line. Tell me what you think. Go ahead, Nick.
First of all, 50 touchdowns, I don't think that's going to happen. But two things. First of all, the Browns, I think, are definitely going to be underrated. If you remember last year, they beat the Ravens 40-25. I think it was week 4. It was the end of September, so it was either week 3 or 4. Second thing is interesting stat that I found. So Mahomes, if you include the 10-year deal and the 2 years he has left in his remaining contract, he's owed $477.6 million, right? That's not including like the incentives and all that up to the 503. Tom Brady and Drew Brees combined career earnings is $479.9 million.
Wow.
So just only $2 million more than him.
I mean, and I tell you right now, Mahomes should definitely be sending a gift card to a Brees because of this. Because if it wasn't for those quarterbacks being so successful and the quarterback market taking off, you wouldn't see Mahomes. And again, he deserves it. It's the market, but it's a crazy contract, and we'll have to definitely monitor it. Let's go out to the webheads here. Let's have see what they have to say here. Okay, maybe we read that comment. Mahomes is going to get other quarterbacks paid well the next few years. Good stuff in. That amount he's asking. Rick says Nick has J.J. Abrams, Lynn, effing insanity. Yep, Lamar Jackson smiling somewhere in Miami right now. Ben Cornett hanging out with the YouTube crew now. Very cool. Thought I'd check out this crew tonight. Johnny, good stuff. We the best crew. Says best virtual edits video. Welcome to the crew then. There you go. Thank you, Johnny. Dylan says, yep, entirely different situation, but he's getting fed up. I guess that's Shaq. They have until the 15th. Nick Citro looking like an absolute fanatic. Okay, all right, TJ. Yep, I used to be in Facebook crew, but YouTube is GOAT. Yeah, it says that is sad with our quarterback situation. Dylan, best virtual edits video. You see that dropping a new Juice album on Friday. 15 songs on their titled Legends Never Die. Cedric, we don't need Antonio Brown. What the hell? We've kind of put that rumor to bed. We talked with Al Keck about that tonight. He doesn't think it's going to happen. Nobody here thinks that Antonio Brown is going to be a Buccaneer, right? Even if it's 2020, Kanye is running for president. We're dealing with a pandemic. We've got killer hornets. We've got brain-eating amoebas. We don't think that Antonio Brown, Mr. Big Chest, who can't make a rap song for his life, is going to join the Bucs, right?
I mean, apparently they found remnants of the bubonic plague over in Europe. So, I mean, anything can happen at this point. We have Tom Brady. Like you said, I mean, an asteroid could fall out of the sky tomorrow, and it wouldn't surprise me. So, but in reality, Bruce Arians wants nothing to do with the drama that is Antonio Brown. It's that simple, and they have no money. So we'll just put that to bed right now. Not going to happen.
All right, good stuff. The Bucs are going to a rent-to-own route now with their quarterbacks. Rick says can barely hear the caller. That's Matt. That's on Matt's end, honestly, guys. I think you got to turn up the volume. Volume is up. Lamar Jackson licking his fingers with this Mahomes deal. Yeah, I seen that. Rodgers, next Bucks quarterback. That's been talked about. YouTube, where is it at? What's up, boys? Best virtual edits video. Triple going crazy on that. Jerry Jones is having a cow and 2 chickens. Jameis is also licking his fingers as well. Ben, good job with the trolling there. What's up, Joshua Allen? Best virtual edits video. I thought Nick was the IT guy. He needs to help Peter
Listen,
out.
I am not I don't know how I got branded with IT guy. I just like looking up stats and figuring out technology is not the same thing. So that is Peter's avenue and Peter's avenue only.
Right. Like I said, it's not always on me, guys. Okay. It's Facebook, big board. Are you an IT guy?
I'm not. I'm a big stats guy and analytics guy, but I am definitely not an IT guy.
All right. Open phone line 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Big Board himself from Canada, Andrew Fulbear, and of course, Nick Citro, our analyst here for Bucks Report. 10 years, says Rodney. Call or volume is low. Rick Hughes, caller. If there's one guy in the NFL that deserved it, it was Pat. So good for him. He's earned it. Good-looking honky. Peter here, old adult film star, huge Bucks fan, awesome stream. Okay, thanks a lot, Pete. I don't know what to think. Look, we've gotten calls from Okinawa, Japan. We've got a call from an NFL author who will get on here eventually from Sydney, Australia. We got an old porn star coming on here saying the stream is good. So obviously the IT guy, being me, knows what he's doing. Sometimes, guys, it happens. It's called Facebook. All right, you're on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook. Looks like Peter North, the old porn star there, is going to join the Evolution. He did it a different way in his past. Just saying. Lamar Jackson up next. Peter North, yes. Adult film star, yes. No way he's worth $503 million. Dumb. Well, that's the market at this point, William. All of Chicago simultaneously sobbing tonight. My best wishes. Thanks, Peter North. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot. Trubisky is horrible.
And yet he threw 500 yards against the Bucks.
Right.
Anybody can.
He still stinks. Well, the Bucks are even more rotten, which just drives me up a wall.
6 touchdowns in the first half, and then he could go back to sleep again. Yes, Josh, we know. Virtual edits, all my best wishes fan. Thanks, Peter North. Preach it, Johnny. Dylan, you going on tonight, Josh? I don't know what Josh is doing tonight, but it is. Hi, Joshua. Thanks. I have season tickets. I usually go in a beard and sunglasses. Not tonight. I don't have my ass off. Bro, I just looked him up. Yes, he is.
Wouldn't recommend that.
Friends have hated him from the beginning. I mean, the Bears at this point, they really do. They feel like kicking themselves, especially trading up one spot for Trubisky, who's been absolutely terrible, right? I mean, at this moment.
The Bears were a poor man's – I don't even know if I want to say poor man's. Well, I guess you could because they didn't make the Super Bowl. They were a poor man's Los Angeles Rams where you had McVay and Goff is not very good, and we saw that last year. But he made it to the Super Bowl because he had a good system around him. Matt Nagy in the Bears, I think it was 2018, maybe it was 2019, I can't remember exactly. They had a good season, made the playoffs, and you had the double doink, and Trubisky looked like a competent quarterback, and then the next year the system gets figured out, and the quarterback is not as good as you thought. So, yeah, Bears fans passed on Mahomes. I think they picked second that year, and Mahomes was what? There was 11 teams that passed on him, I think.
I thought he was 10th overall, wasn't he?
Oh, was it 10th? Were the Buccaneers?
11th.
Was that the O.J. Howard year when the Bucks picked 19th? I can't even remember.
Yes,
it was something like that, yeah.
It was.
So we didn't pass on him technically, or the Buccaneers didn't pass on him technically.
Passed on Dalvin Cook, though.
Well,
you have a problem with that?
No, I don't, because you don't draft running backs in the first round, especially at 19th. And I can see your face. And Dalvin Cook had off-field problems in the Florida area, and I was incredibly worried that if he did not get out of the state of Florida, it was going to cost him his career.
So he's never coming back. He's never came back to the state of Florida ever.
Well, you live in Minnesota. It's not like you're just living down the street from your buddies. Listen, I'm not going to compare it to. Well, I guess I am, but it is I gotta be careful what I say. It is a little bit similar to Aaron Hernandez in that Aaron Hernandez had to stay. He got drafted by the Patriots and had to stay near Boston, where there was a ton of bad influences around him. Okay, and I'm not saying Dalvin Cook is a criminal or did anything like Aaron Hernandez. The situation of off-field problems is just slightly similar. So.
All right.
There were stories through the grapevine with Dalvin Cook that were incredibly worrying, and that's all I'll say.
That's true.
I know all about that. Travis, Rocket Sports Entertainment. Again, Travis Feely, Rocket Sports Entertainment, my Lightning insider, of course, around the NFL correspondent. Welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind, boss?
Body blow after body blow after body blow with this Trubisky draft. And once again, it rears its ugly head as Patrick Mahomes signs a sweetheart deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Bears are up in the air on it. Will it be Nick Foles or Mitchell Trubisky? And the smoke and mirrors playoff season that concluded with the double doink.
Yeah, the double doink. And, of course, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and that extension today, $503 million, 10 years. We were talking about Travis, who is going to get the next deal at this point. It looks like it could be Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, or Lamar Jackson.
I think it'll probably be Deshaun Watson because, they're going to have to lock him up soon. The Ravens will get the job done. And
Oh, we got a frozen Peter.
Oh, it didn't work.
Dak will be crying.
There it is.
Are you?
What now, Travis? Go ahead.
I don't know what's going on back there. I'm talking and you guys got some craziness going on.
No, I'm listening to you. We're just, we'll have our daily little freeze.
Going, Peter, no, don't talk about Dak Prescott not signing his contract. Give me a break, Dak. You should have signed it, pre-pandemic. $32 million, $33 million. Lock it up, lock it in, and keep moving because you're no Patrick Mahomes.
No, I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes, but I definitely think because the quarterback market is so high right now that he's definitely going to get more of $32 million. He may see $40 million. He may be asking for more than that. And whoever the agent of Mahomes is definitely happy tonight. But you got to feel Lee Steinberg and somebody else in that. But you have to feel like whatever quarterback does sign this type of deal is going to get that type of money. Maybe not 50, but at least over 35.
No, it's not 50, Pete. It's
not
50. You're taking in bonuses and incentives of what 1.25 if he makes, if they make the Super Bowl, 1.25 if he's league MVP. He's got that, so that's an extra $25 million. You can take that away from the 503. I mean, I know it sounds silly throwing numbers out there of 400 or 500 million, but
right,
pretty much 40 million for 10 years plus potential for incentives, et cetera, no trade clause. So
he's not wrong.
It's great for Kansas City and it's good for football. Let's just hope the guy stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope he stays healthy because he's good for the NFL. We're on with Travis Feely here around the NFL, correspondent on the evolution of sports talk television, because they envision what he told the fans today when he tweeted it out, guys, is basically he's looking at a dynasty. And look, the Chiefs definitely have that opportunity to have a pretty good team around him. My question is, who is going to be a candidate to get cut or leave the team because of this type of contract? Is it a Chris Jones, possibly a Tyreek Hill, somebody down the road that you may miss out on? But I feel like every team, when they sign these quarterbacks to this big-time deal, there's always those victims of a cut.
Oh, absolutely, people. When you had to do this, and the fact that you're going to be paying this guy. Let's say he just plays for 5 years. Let's just go that route.
Right.
You got him, and you were talking about escalating contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has set the bar. Who's going to jump over that bar? Well, while you got others trying to jump over that bar over the next few seasons, you still got this guy locked in at 40 or 40 and change. So if those guys start going over, now Mahomes looks like a bargain, and I still can't believe we're talking about sports athletes making $40, $50 million a year to play sports. But I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's the game.
That's it. That's a game. Even though we don't even know if there's going to be a season or not, Travis. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everything that you hear right now seems to be a little bit negative. Guys, their teams opting out or having fans have the option of opting out. Being tested. I mean, I want to go to this really quick while you're on the phone. I want to get everybody's thoughts on this. and this is from Pro Football Talk with Philip Rivers, with asking the question on Thursday night, asked if he tests positive for COVID-19 before the Super Bowl. Tom Pelissero basically says, even if he's asymptomatic, the rule says that any player who tests positive would have to be isolated for at least 5 days and then could only return if he tested negative twice. And these 2 tests would be emitted 24 hours. So 24 hours, you would have to test positive for 2 tests in a row. I guess that would be 24-hour increments there. But so it's 2 days. But that's what everybody's thinking about right at this point. I mean, if the Super Bowl's in Tampa and hopefully you don't have anybody test positive, you still have to set out 5 days. So I kind of look at the NFL, Travis, and say, what the hell would they do? I feel like they would have to put off the Super Bowl. But what Tom Pelissero is basically saying on the NFL Network is 5 days.
Well, it's got to be this, Pete, and we're going to have some examples coming right around the corner here with Major League Soccer are starting up the games, I believe, this week. Then obviously you're going to have basketball and baseball, and you're going to see some examples of and see how things play out here, because obviously there are guys that are going to test positive, and sports might have to, unfortunately, Pete, shut down at least. I don't want to talk about that. I mean, I just, everybody's talking about such the potential for this, and it's reality. It's the reality that we're living in. And
it is.
Unfortunately, now it seems like it could be the new normal until there's a vaccine. But, on the face, let's see how the dominoes roll. What fall, I should say, with the next contract. Once again, this Patrick Mahomes thing is just punching me in the gut, because, the Bears didn't want Mahomes. Bears fans didn't want Mahomes. They really didn't see Mahomes. They wanted Watson. I wanted Watson. I jumped off the couch and I almost threw a phone through my TV, like we've talked about before.
Right.
Ryan Pace must not have been paying attention to the Clemson championship games. Alabama.
I don't get it. I don't understand it, Travis. Here's a player who was 28-2 in college, and he beat Alabama. He did it in the national championship game. He had some type of interception problem in his senior year, but they looked too much into that. And here's a player that did it consistently, and even the coach, take it for whatever it is, he said that he's going to be the new Michael Jordan of the NFL. Now, I don't know if he's going to be the new Michael Jordan in the NFL, but he's definitely a lot better than Mitchell Trubisky. We'd all agree with that.
Well, Mitch has got 13 starts in college, and he struggled to beat the guy that was the starter previously from North Carolina.
Right. So
if you looked at his body of work and you compared it to obviously Deshaun Watson's body of work, how do you not make that? How do you not pull that trigger? And this is the year. If Nick Foles is going to have hardly any time to get ready for this club and to learn the playbook and to work out with his team and get the show on the road, especially if they pull those last 2 preseason games. Let's say we have 0 preseason games, hardly any OTAs. How is Nick Foles going to learn this system and have it ready to go by week 1? It's sort of the same thing with Cam Newton and Jared Stidham.
Yeah.
How is Cam Newton going to get on the field without knowing this, not being installed in this, new, really ridiculously hard offensive scheme? They say it took Brady years to figure out McDaniel's scheme.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you have to look for.
Cam Newton's just going to jump in, and, Cam's never had a lot of great touch on the ball, and a lot of things go underneath. Those underneath routes, those, 7 to 10, 15 yards where the ball's got to be dead on balls on the money to make the play happen to Edelman. And if you don't have time to work out those routes, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a struggle. Good stuff, Travis Feely. Anything else, buddy?
No, I think that's it, man. I really enjoyed the show today. Don't worry about technical problems. Stuff happens. It's technology, multiple platforms. You guys are going global, baby. Going global. Going global,
buddy. There you go. Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, our Tampa Bay Lightning insider. Hopefully the NHL is back, no matter where it's at, if it's in Canada or another place. God, I got to see hockey, I've got to see baseball, and I've got to see some basketball, see how this works out.
I've been trying to tell you guys about this Australian Football League, man. This morning, I'm having coffee. Instead of having coffee with a cup of rice, I'm having coffee with a bunch of Aussies. That's pretty good. That's a good promo right there. I'm having coffee with the Aussies. That's pretty strong, man.
Good stuff.
T-shirt, I think.
Hot takes from Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment are
hot takes, baby. Hot takes.
Around
You're doing a great job.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. There you go, Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. Of course, now we are part of the Landry Football Network. Let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Alex, and I'm calling from the mean streets of Orlando, Florida.
Mean Streets, Florida. You're on with yours truly, along with Nick Citro, our analyst for Bucks Report, who has a little bit of controversy on Twitter. That's okay. We like that here on Bucks Report. And then, of course, we got the big board from Canada himself, Mr. Andrew Colbert. What's on your mind tonight, Mr. Fleming?
Besides the Washington team name change, I want to talk about what Travis Fraley was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell did Chicago mess that up 2-3 years ago? How do you mess that up?
Well,
that's like having the hot girlfriend and you go after the fat chick with no money. How the hell do you mess that up?
It's easy, and when you put it like that, it comes down to them meeting. Supposedly, Trubisky meets with Ryan Pace. They have a great dinner together. They're breaking bread, and he feels like, you know what? This is the guy that I want to go home with my daughter. This is the guy that I would say, okay, he could take my daughter out. But the problem is you're not looking for the bachelor for your daughter. You're looking for the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And if you don't feel like he's a starter or doesn't have the qualifications like a Deshaun Watson, who was a multi-year starter, who got it done at Clemson, won national championship versus Alabama, what are you looking at? I don't understand it, Ryan Pace.
Look, I'm not going to talk about the elephant in the room because there's other things that we can do to bring about what ignorance is going on in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at head-to-head matchups. Clemson killed North Carolina. Let's look at collegiate record. Deshaun Watson, 28-2. Mitchell Trubisky was a one-year starter that went 8-5.
Yes.
So even if we're not going to talk about the elephant in the room, what the hell was Chicago thinking by picking Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Nick, can you make some sense of this? I mean, again, Ryan Pace is saying, look, I feel like this guy could take my daughter out. We heard the same thing when it came down to Mariota and Winston. Of course, that didn't necessarily work out, but there were some scouts out there saying, I like Mariota because he could take my daughter out. I think you forget, look, it's not about taking your daughter out. It's about having the leadership and going through those adverse situations and being the leader of a football team. Can you get it done? And at the end of the day, the body of work for Trubisky compared to Watson paled in comparison. It doesn't make any sense.
It never made sense. And there was a story that Ryan Pace loved Trubisky's, I guess you want to call it grit or grind, because he drove up this old car to a meeting, I suppose, and that's when he fell in love with Trubisky. And I remember hearing that story and thinking, is this guy ever going to talk about X's and O's, how he sees the field, like his work? There's nothing that Ryan Pace has ever talked about Mitch Trubisky that has to do with on-field talent or intangibles or anything. So, I mean, in that draft class in 2017, I thought Myles Garrett was the best player in that draft. And I think he's, has he lived up to the best player in that draft? Probably not, but I think he's still a solid first overall pick. And then I thought Deshaun Watson should have been the second pick, and he fell all the way to 12. I mean, that was kind of a steal. If you look at the top 10 in that draft class, you have Myles Garrett, Trubisky, Solomon Thomas, who is a solid, Leonard Fournette, who was solid, Corey Davis. I mean, I don't know if it's Mariota or what his deal was. He struggled with Tannehill, so I suppose you could call him a bust at this point. Jamal Adams, Mike Williams, who's pretty solid on the Chargers, Christian McCaffrey, John Ross is good when he's healthy. Yeah. I mean, the Bears, you had your pick at Jamal Adams, you blew that. Christian McCaffrey, you blew that. So it's not even just, oh, we screwed up with Mahomes. You screwed up with every position. It's just mind-boggling.
It really is, and that's what the reason why when a team wants to draft a quarterback, you've got to look at every situation, look at how every player stacks up. Because if you get entranced with a guy like the general manager did, and you feel like that's your guys, you trade up one spot, it looks bad right now. It doesn't look good. Now, look, if Trubisky comes out and starts this year and is somewhat productive, maybe some people forget, but the whole thing is that they're never going to forget, and that would be Bears fans and anybody else, because you stack him up against a Watson or a Mahomes, and it's not even close. It's disappointing.
Well, so to add on to that, besides the big mess up of not missing up on Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, let's look at this year. Now, we all knew that Mitchell Trubisky was probably going to get replaced or needed to get replaced. You could have signed Cam Newton for less money than what you did after a contract failure in Jacksonville with Nick Foles. So once again, you show your ignorance by overpaying for an older, less movable, and less capable quarterback than what you could have got coming off of a limp fracture.
I couldn't agree more, man.
Once again, Chicago just shows that they are happy with making ignorant or illegitimate moves for their team.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack's time is now. That defense is great right. And if they don't do anything about that offense, they're always going to be second or third rate in the NFC North. Minnesota's going to win that division this year.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Two weapons is still better than Chicago. What the hell is going on?
I don't know, man. I think you guys are kind of sleeping on Chicago. I kind of have some faith in Nick Foles. I think he'll
They need another year.
I think he'll turn it around with the Chicago Bears, and I think it's because of the defense and because the team's belief in Foles. I think that's all you have to have sometimes. I'm not sure about Minnesota. I think Minnesota here, Nick and Andrew, are kind of rebuilding at this point. Minnesota, to me, is rebuilding a little bit. You still have Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook, but there's some doubt there that Cook is even going to sign a deal, and then you lose Xavier Rhodes, you lose a couple of defensive starters, a questionable draft. Alex, I'm not sure if Minnesota's going to win that division. Detroit, Chicago, I think it's up in the air at this point, and of course, Green Bay was the division winner, but everybody feels like that thing is going to break down fast because they didn't get enough weapons to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers could have seen his best days because of it.
You make me laugh, Peter. You said Detroit. Really?
Look, Matt Stafford is not healthy. He wasn't healthy the last couple of years.
Thank you.
I don't know what kind of good quarterback he can be when he's healthy. They added into the draft. They get a running back in DeAndre Swift, who's looked at as a first-round player. You get him in the second round. You add him to a Kerryon Johnson. Of course, it comes down to Patricia and that defense. Can they finally turn it around? They have not been able to turn it around. And they lose Slay on top of it. So I don't know. I think the division right now is up in the air, but I would not be surprised if either the Bears or the Lions make some noise. Just saying.
Here's a quick question. Nagy's the head coach of Chicago. Was he not the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia when they won the Super Bowl?
No,
I believe.
Nagy was with Andy Reid in Kansas City.
Okay, thank you. That was the only thing that was hanging over my head, because I was going to say if Foles and Nagy had played together on there, I could see why they had traded for it, but obviously I got that wrong. But no, Chicago needs to figure it out with Foles this year for sure. But they brought him in to light the fire under Trubisky's ass, I guess you would say, and I don't think that's necessarily going to do it. I mean, they've tried to do that a couple of different times with, benching him, basically telling him we're not going to get you any real talent. Just go out there with the players that you have after injuries and stuff like that. Show that you are the talent, and it hasn't worked. So I don't think bringing in another quarterback is really going to do anything except get them, 0-3 to start the season, and then you bring in Foles because they didn't give him his fourth-year option. I can honestly, at this point right now, kind of how Nick Citro is saying the lineman there, he says he's going to make it to the Pro Bowl. I'm going to take my little shot here and say that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Detroit Lion.
Oof. Wow.
Okay. I do not think that Patricia, him and the other guy have been given 1 year in Detroit to turn it around. And we have seen countless times on Pat McAfee's show, Colin Cowherd doing interviews. There was another show that had two other Lion players, and they're not talking highly of Patricia. If you don't have the players, you don't have the locker room. If you don't have the locker room while there has been no training camp to get these guys, you're not going to get them ready for the beginning of the year. And you got Chicago that's going to beat you up twice. Minnesota that's going to beat you up twice. Packers is going to beat you up twice. We're going to beat you in week 16 or 17 or whatever it is. Detroit's getting Trevor Lawrence. And with DeAndre Swift and Trevor Lawrence and Stafford being able to go off to free agency, heck, he could be a Buccaneer at that point. He could be Jacksonville's, replacement at that point. There's so many different things, ins and outs that can happen in this offseason as well. I mean, Detroit's getting Lawrence.
I think Jacksonville could get Lawrence, or if it
I agree.
And with the Patriots, maybe they would be in contention. But
I don't think the Lions are as bad as people say they were. I mean, you look last year, they lost by 4 points to the Chiefs, lost by 1 point to the Packers.
Right.
A touchdown game to the Cowboys. I mean, they played close games. It's just, and they also added Jeffrey Okudah, who was the top corner out of Ohio State on the defense. It's, I mean, kind of as Andrew was saying, the coaching is not there. I mean, Matt Patricia is a below-average head coach at best. I don't know why they drafted running backs. DeAndre Swift, they don't use their running backs. They drafted, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Kerryon Johnson,
who was supposed to be the next big thing, and they didn't even use him.
He hasn't been healthy. I mean, that's the reason.
He got healthy towards the end of the year, and they still didn't do it. Their running game makes no sense. They rely on Matthew Stafford to do everything.
O-line is meh.
The O-line is not great. I think they have solid wide receivers, but you don't have good coaching, you're not going to make noise. So
that makes sense. Alex, what else?
Nick Citro. I'm glad you brought that up because I was also going to go to T.J. Hawkinson, the Iowa tight end. Now, last time I checked, Iowa produces excellent tight ends. Ask Dallas Clark. Ask George Kittle. But Hawkinson went down with a concussion, and he never really was the same. That offensive line is supposed to be better with Holly Valley Booty Vaitai, but the other Samoan on that damn near blew his face off this 4th of July weekend with fireworks. You do know that across the country, Chuck E. Cheese has filed for bankruptcy and is closing down. Well, I expect Matt Patricia to file for bankruptcy and get fired because now that the daughter has stepped in and is now the leader of this franchise, I think she's going to take one look at that rat and all of the expectations that aren't being met in the NFC North, and he should be fired after this year.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I think it's certainly possible. Patricia has been disappointing, and it just follows the long line of coaches that have come out of that Bill Belichick system that have not been successful. We'll see how Brian Flores is this year with the Miami Dolphins. Anything else, Alex?
I compare Matt Patricia to an overweight porn star. Not worth the money.
All right, Alex Fleming, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you from Fantasy and Flavors. Great job on Turf Talk, which is here at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday mornings here live on Bucs Report, right?
Thank you, Pete.
Absolutely, buddy. There you go. Good stuff. All right, so let's get out to the dude here. I know the dude wants to join the stream, so let's get out to him. Welcome to the Evolution, friend. How you doing?
Greetings and saturations, guys. Hey, real quick. A porn star, a Canadian, a millennial, and a talk show host walk into a bar. Wait a minute. That's the sports web. Anyway, what's going on tonight, guys? Rocking and rolling, I see. Live on Twitch. No, I'm not. Twitch is a thing, right?
Yeah, Twitch is the thing. Yes, it is.
You're showing your age there, dude.
Well, we're on Bucs Report.
I Twitch
right now, and we'll be on Landry Football, which will be Chris Landry's Twitch channel here in a couple of days. So maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I have no problems at this point. Knock on wood, no tech problems. We got it under control. I've got to love Facebook.
Far out, man. Far out. So real quick on Twitch, I here's what I don't understand. It doesn't move. It just sits there.
What do you
mean?
But
anyway, right. I do got a question for Nick though on the whole Patrick Mahomes thing. So hey, the dude has had a drink. He wants to talk a little football.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Nick. He touched on both sides, whether it's the short-term rookie deal strategy or the re-sign the veteran and sell the farm. My problem is in the Chiefs instance, in the Kansas City case here, which one, if not three of those stars, can't stay with the team more than the next 2 years because of Mahomes' contract? Like Kelsey, and go right on down the list. Who's going to get the axe, do you think?
Well, they can stay for at least 2 more years though, because that contract doesn't kick in till 2022.
Okay, so after 2 years, who's gone?
Oh man, probably
Chris Jones, don't you? I mean,
yeah, well, Chris Jones is guaranteed. I don't even know if he's gonna sign this year. I mean, they want to franchise tag him, and he's not gonna sign it. So,
yeah.
I mean, do you not sign Kelsey and make? I mean, Tyreek Hill and make Watkins the wide receiver 1? I mean, they're gonna fill holes through the draft. So, you know, I don't know.
Well,
I think you got to keep Kelsey, Matthew.
Well, see, and I think that's the point I'm trying to make. So the strategy, that both of those strategies go a little deeper. One, you're taking that every 5-year risk on the one player, the quarterback, the key player, no doubt. The other side of that is if you don't, you're constantly doing with several other positional players.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to consider that when we're having the discussion. Aside from that, I Googled Twitch. And I'm not going to tell you why, but the show came up, and I was like, wow, Bucks Report's there too. I also see an NFL-type logo in the corner. Peter, what does that mean?
That would be the Landry Football Network, of course, a part of the Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, and we're going to definitely be a part of that and continue to be a part of that in the future. So we're working with him, putting the shows up there, so you definitely got to keep on tuning in. And as I said, to start the broadcast or during the test on Facebook, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be Bucks talk. Not to say we haven't talked NFL tonight. And then Tuesday and Thursday will be more NFL talk, but that's not to say you can't talk Bucks. So it's going to be 5 days a week of the evolution of sports talk television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook. Of course, like and follow on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. I guess you like and follow. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, I want to throw in real quick before I get off here, which will tie back into what I'm about to say, so you will laugh. Johnny Dean wants me to ask some guy, some porn star on the YouTube channel. He said Johnny has put the link in there to join the show, and so if you see somebody in the chat room, Peter, that's name is Peter. Don't be scared. Okay, but please look at the video before you bring it on, just in case. Peter North might have a different idea of what a headshot is. You feel me? All right, so gentlemen, have a good night. Back to the football stuff. I'm gonna go over here and Twitch a little bit.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. There you go. The dude himself. Open phone line 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. Let's go out to the web heads here. People will ask all kinds of questions around kids. Laugh out loud. That's why I go out like that. I think he was talking about going out in a beard. Did Clark Hunt sell the team to Warren Buffett? That's a great question. Just did too. I thought you were joking at first. Laugh out loud. Chargers are going to the playoffs with Taylor. We have a bet on this, Peter. They are.
No way. I'm with you, Peter, on that. With Tyrod Taylor, there's no way.
Smart guys. No, I'm not a big YouTuber, laugh out loud, but catch my interview with TT Boy. Just type TT Boy interview Peter North. I don't know. What was that like? Gluteus to the Maximus. With this virus stuff, I don't know if we can attend, but hopefully, guys, if a quarterback gets an insane deal, how would the front line of this defense feel, the offensive line? I feel sorry for Breeze this year. Laugh out loud. Maximus was actually one of my favorites. A lot of beautiful stars. At one scene, I was high as a bird. Laugh out loud. What's going on? I have no idea what's going on with that conversation. My all-time favorite was
interesting.
Gold Digger. It is. That's why Brady is the GOAT, says Christopher Cole. Laugh my ass off. Ha, ha, ha. Dead. Let's see. My friend Lexington still wanted me to do the Baby Got Back series, but I had other scenes going on. Laugh out loud. Take care of my Bucks. All the best wishes, fans. Thanks, Peter North. All right. Thanks a lot for tuning into the Evolution.
Thank you for that.
That's it.
Okay.
That's a haircut. Travis says, Travis J. says Cadillac Williams. Shaq put it on Instagram. Shaq wants.
Well, we can circle back to the Instagram thing real quick because I found the post.
Okay.
So he posted just the CBS headline. It said, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes agree on 10-year contract extension, blah, blah, blah. his caption was, "Congrats, Patrick Mahomes, and to the Chiefs. Y'all know what y'all got and made it happen." I don't really think that's a shot at the Bucs, to be honest. I think he's just congratulating Patrick Mahomes. I mean, maybe it kind of sounded like it was through me kind of describing the post, but when you read it here, it really doesn't seem like much to me at all.
Yeah, I think so. It's a very slow night, if you will. Some people are trying to come up with some news items. And remember, Shaq even said it on NFL Sirius Radio. We had that sound about a week ago, less than a week ago. He said he's going to sign it on July 15th, so there should be no worries by Bucs fans or the Bucs themselves. Congrats to Pat Mahomes and to the Chiefs. You all know what he got, and you made it happen. Matthew says, what about the no preseason games that the NFL Players Association voted on? I mean, again, we've talked about this last week. Could you see that legitimately happen, guys, where there is no preseason games? And how do you feel about it? Is there some fear that the football season, the players and the play is going to be rusty to begin the season?
I mean, I think there's absolutely a possibility of that happening. I don't think the NFL wants that necessarily. They cut. I think the NFLPA had been in talks for a month or two about we don't want any preseason games, and they just hadn't come out publicly. And the NFL said, okay, fine, we'll cut you a deal. Here's just 2 games. And they're kind of just doing this little war back and forth. But, you know, the NFLPA can kind of vote on anything they want. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. I think, you know, if the virus gets worse, then they'll probably just cut out all the preseason games and we'll start week 1. But, you know, if it's status quo like we are right now, I mean, it's just different for every state. I mean, Florida, what was it, 11,000 cases. I mean, up where I am in the Northeast, things are opening up again. We're doing well. I mean, it's so dependent on where you live, and I think they have to take that into account. You know, sitting here right now, I would say they're probably going to play the 2 preseason games, but I mean, that can change in a week. I mean, just look at what's changed since March. It's been a crazy offseason.
Let's see here. Ben Cornette says $500 million would buy a lot of Molson and Tim Hortons donuts for Andrew. Andrew, from big board to bookshelf. Best virtual edits video is that hookah.
My DVDs.
Johnny Dean, Andrew Fulbear went from the big board to bookshelf. Okay. Pat has a lot of money for ketchup now. At Ben Cornette to laugh my ass off. That would be the Canada thing. Best virtual edits video. Chiefs can't sign no one. Haha, they're relying on rookies and depth. Paul says Mahomes is the next Brady and the AFC. Do we agree with that? I mean, are we buying the hype about Mahomes? Is he the next? Could he be the next Brady that leads the Chiefs to multiple Super Bowls? Or do we believe that eventually defensive coordinators are going to come get all his tendencies? He's going to come back down to earth, and possibly Andy Reid may move on because of his age.
I'll let you go first, Andrew. I want to see what your answer is.
So to be honest, let's just say that he's not going to do the whole 10 years. Let's just say he does 5 years. And then, you know, either he retires or they fall out of grace together, whatever it be. But let's just say 5 years. He's going to get one more title just because this title meant everything to him, and not necessarily the organization, but to him and all the fans and this, that, and everything else. It's the next set of players that's going to come in, all those rookies and stuff like that, that he's going to want to win that championship for. Kind of what drives Russell Wilson and stuff like that. So he's going to have that type of personality for the next, 5+ years, whatever. But he's going to get one title, and Reid is going to be gone in at least a year or two, in my opinion. Reid has got his championship. I think he wants to set up Bieniemy, maybe set up, his coaches, kind of what Bruce Arians has got going in Tampa Bay. But really, if Bieniemy doesn't run well being a head coach, the Chiefs all of a sudden have an issue at the 5-year mark where it becomes Bieniemy's decision or Patrick Mahomes' decision. And we've seen in New England that, Brady and Bill Belichick have had that little clash, but then all of a sudden something happens behind closed doors. They meet down in the middle, win a couple more championships, and then Belichick gets to let him walk off into the sunset when he's 43 years old. So I honestly think he's only got 5 years out of that contract, and then something's going to happen, but he's got one championship out of there. only because of the talent that's in the AFC, like I said earlier. So,
well, you don't
what
want
about you, Nick?
I mean,
Sorry.
that's okay. Aaron Rodgers comes to mind at this point. Won one Super Bowl, a lot of potential. He won it when he was younger, taking over for Favre. I think it was like a couple years in. A lot of expectations about being a dynasty, and it doesn't go anywhere. Could that be a case where Mahomes only wins one Super Bowl in the next 10 years, and is that good enough?
I'll say the answer to the question is Mahomes going to be the next Brady in that. Is he going to be involved in dynasty? Is he going to win 4, 5, 6 Super Bowls? I think yes. And I think that because Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in football. And if you say, okay, Andy Reid's going to retire 2-3 years from now, whatever it is, Eric Bieniemy, he should have been hired 5 to 6 years ago. People do not give him credit for what he's established in Kansas City. And I think him and Patrick Mahomes are just going to run through the AFC East like it's nobody's job. The difference between Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers never had a system. I mean, Mike McCarthy was a joke a couple of years ago and last year. I mean, it was kind of pathetic how they ran that offense. And Patrick Mahomes, the Andy Reid system is an elite offensive system. And if they can keep that defense somewhat intact, Patrick Mahomes will have a Tom Brady type dynasty career. Calling it right now.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome, Johnny Dean, back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Johnny.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
For Nick. That dynasty thing with Mahomes, you see, in order to win last year, they had to go out in free agency and pump up their defense and their running game. And that worked. But with this money being taken out, $50 million a year? That's going to hit the cap. They're not going to be able to afford to do a lot of that. They're going to have to start letting go of some of these players and stuff who have this chemistry with Mahomes and stuff. It's going to be a complete relearning process every year. It's not like with the Patriots and Brady where Belichick was getting all these players in at discount deals because they were a great team and everybody wanted to play for Belichick. It's not going to be like that. Now, a lot of people do want to play for Andy Reid. I get that. But you still have to be able to sign your rookie classes, and you're going to keep developing your talent and stuff around that. And that money is going to limit the amount they can do. It's not going to be like there's probably never going to be another Belichick Brady era. I don't see that happening unless it happens with the caps and the quarterback payrolls and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that happening either. But if anybody has the best opportunity, it's Mahomes because of what Nick kind of mentioned. You have a system there. You have Reid there. Mahomes is still young. They still have somewhat of a competitive team. Once again, though, you just kind of wonder who they're going to lose. But I just don't think it's ever going to happen where you have that synergy between Brady, Belichick, and even with free agency having be so competitive and playoff appearances and Super Bowls, it was just an amazing run.
If you go and look at the salary cap for 2022, right when that contract starts to kick in, or actually is it 2023? No, it's 2022.
2022, yeah.
Yeah. The Chiefs will have $111 million in cap space with Tyreek Hill on the books, with Frank Clark on the books, with McCole Hardman still on a rookie deal. So if you say, okay, I need to sign Tyrann Mathieu and Travis Kelce, that's very much doable with $111 million. And that does not even include the increase in the salary cap every year. So, I understand Johnny's point with, it's definitely going to be a lot more difficult. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think it's going to be as crazy as people think it's going to be. I think there's definite workarounds with the cap. I mean, we've seen the Saints do it every year. The Saints had no money at all to even sign Jameis Winston to a $1.1 million deal, and they still did it. I mean, they had $100,000 in the bank, and they somehow navigate through the cap every season to sign players they have no business signing. So, I think it's doable.
Go ahead, Johnny.
You're talking Drew Brees and Brady. You look at statistics, and you're the best at it. You are the best at Bucks Report at statistics. So I look at the game cycle and how it works with the people involved in the game. And if you're a team member and you consider yourself one of the best at your position of all time, and you see your quarterback making $50 million a year, you're going to be looking for your cut. And Brady and Brees have taken franchise cuts in order to keep the teams together. That's how those guys have kept things going. I'll take that money to make sure that there's a better team around me. And if Mahomes isn't like that, if Mahomes is wanting that $50 million and saying to hell with anybody else, I'm not going to take a salary cut, and they're going to run into problems because everybody else on that team is going to say, okay, my quarterback's greedy, I'm going to be greedy.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a possibility at that point. You're exactly right. Good stuff, Johnny Dean, the professor. Appreciate you calling the Sports Web, all right?
All right, later, guys.
All right, later. There you go. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and read the rest of these comments. We'll get you out of here, guys. It's almost midnight here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook. Of course, like and follow on YouTube and, of course, Twitter. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the analyst for Bucks Report, Mr. Nick Citro, and the big board from Canada, Mr. Andrew Fulbert. Let's go out to the webheads here. I won't say lockdown. Lamar Jackson may have something to say about that. The Ravens defense is legit. Their run game is the best. So with some added weapons in the core, watch the Ravens. Don't sleep on the Ravens in the AFC first. Everyone seems to just discount the Niners again. Absolutely correct. Exactly, Johnny. The exact team that seems to be forgotten about. Rodney Beck says Derek Brooks. Niners are scary good. I want to hear Andrew's full playlist. Oh, we got some from Twitter. Nice says semi-buck. Okay, nice. Tough. We're going to rock down to Peter Avenue. All right, good stuff. I don't know who that is. Semi-buck, thanks a lot for tuning into the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Pat took the money. Who wouldn't? Justin says Bucks 31, Ravens 24, Super Bowl. Johnny Dean can't.
That's hilarious.
That's funny. Can barely hear. It's his phone. Jay Callen, thanks a lot for the love. Peter Sickle, there you go. Peter Sickle again. I guess when I froze. That's okay. Matthew, are you going to talk about no preseason games? We kind of did. Who has the better career, Sam Darnold or Dwayne Haskins? Go.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold does. I look at Haskins. I'm not sure what to think about him. I'm not sure if they have enough weapons around him. Of course, Terry McLaurin last year, one of the bright spots on that offense. Adrian Peterson seems like he needs to be tested for steroids because he's
invincible. It's insane how I don't understand how he's still playing.
But then I look at Sam Darnold. You have Le'Veon Bell. You have Frank Gore, Bashard Perryman, Denzel Mims. I mean, they put some really good weapons around him. They're trying to build that offensive line. The defense is getting better. The problem is Adam Gase is
thank you
to turn Sam Darnold around. And I think Gase is one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL. And if he can't do anything to turn him around, he does not deserve a head coaching job. Maybe an offensive coordinator, but as a head coach, I think he's overrated. And that's the key. Can he turn around Sam Darnold for the Jets?
No, he can't because he's an awful head coach. And he had some good seasons with Peyton Manning as the offensive coordinator. But if there's 32 head coaches in the NFL, Adam Gase is the 33rd worst. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. Andrew, you were clapping hands. Not a big time Adam Gase.
No, I think honestly, Adam Gase's best days were behind him when he was an offensive coordinator. I honestly think that if he leaves the Jets, the only best place for him to go to is when Doug Marrone gets fired out of Jacksonville, Jay Gruden becomes the head coach. That's probably the best case that he would become the offensive coordinator, somewhere around there where he can be under the radar and he doesn't have to have all this media attention, his eyes doing this every single time people ask stupid questions. Like, Adam Gase just needs to not be in a huge market. I mean, he was in Miami and he was in New York. Go to Cincinnati, which you're not going to be able to anymore, but go to a smaller market team for a little bit so you're under the radar like Jacksonville, and build your personality and your resume back up, dude. Like, honestly.
Yeah. All right.
I wouldn't hate it either.
Let's hate that at all. Okay. Good question, Dylan. Definitely want to join the show. Definitely click. Sounds like a lot of successful quarterbacks got passed on. Does a guy named Jalen Hurts sound familiar? Hurts won on 2 different teams and fell in the draft. Is that the next player, in your opinion, Nick and Big Board, where you think that he'll get the opportunity because Wentz in his career has not been able to stay healthy? And if Hurts gets that opportunity, he has that it. You don't know what it is, but he can win games and he can deal with adverse situations. Could Hurts be the next guy that people are kicking themselves over by not drafting?
Yes, and because the Eagles are – he I think the Eagles drafted him, in the 20s of the first? I can't remember exactly where it was. He is in a good situation. It's not like, Mariota's going to the Titans. I mean, they're a crap team. James to the Bucks, they're a crap team. I mean, they have a solid defense. They've drafted some skill positions. They have Ertz. Their offensive line is solid. I think if Wentz goes down again, Hurts can go in there and make some noise. Is he going to be the next best quarterback? I mean, I don't think he's Mahomes level at all, but I think he'll have a very successful career in Philadelphia, especially with Doug Peterson, who I think Doug Peterson is the ultimate no risk it, no biscuit. I mean, he blows Arians out of the water.
Yeah.
He goes for it on 4th and 1 every game. He's got the Philly special in the Super Bowl. I mean, imagine the balls you need to run that play on the goal line of the Super Bowl. I mean, so if the situation's good, the talent's there, I agree with that.
Andrew.
I mean, sorry, what was the quick question again? Sorry, I lost it there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
with Jalen Hurts being a starter or a franchise eventually with the Eagles there. Yeah, him and Jordan Love are going to be NFC starters in 2 or 3 years. And those are the guys I've kind of got on my list that are going to be the next quarterbacks that aren't getting the recognition right now, but in 2 or 3 years will be the quarterbacks that we have to add to that list of players who are going to get paid, like Dak was, Russell Wilson was, Wentz as well. Some of those quarterbacks are going to have to get paid, and we don't really talk about them because they had other quarterbacks, like we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. We're talking about those quarterbacks, and in a year or two, we're going to be talking about possibly Tua. We're going to be talking about possibly Justin Herbert. Say he has a Patrick Mahomes type of career where you sit behind for one, you have a really good season your first year, and all of a sudden you win a Super Bowl, or you get there in your second year, you're all of a sudden going to be getting a lot of money. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole idea is if a quarterback is winning in college and he continues to win consistently, and he went to 2 different programs and won there, and people kind of oversee or they kind of overlook the fact that Hurts, of course, he got replaced by Tua, but he was still a good quarterback, still won in Alabama. He had problems that he needed to work on, but I feel like the NFL is so wide open to college football systems now that you can make a player like a Jalen Hurts work, which I don't necessarily think you could do that about 10 or 15 years ago. But Jalen Hurts could be the next guy where you say, well, we should have drafted him, but we didn't draft him. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. Same thing with Deshaun Watson. Let's go back out to the webheads here, and then we'll get you guys out of here. I agree. It's crazy that successful quarterbacks continue to get passed on. Alex, any porn stars who wish to join the show, link is above. Boom. Jay Callen, dog, pizza. Oh, that's
Hungry Howie's.
I love Hungry. Leave my Hungry Howie's alone. I had the Philly cheesesteak tonight. It was good. Thank you. There we go. Touchdown. Need more. Andrew says Seminole Buccaneer. That porn star guy needs to come on the show. Andrew seems so calm tonight. Andrew's not calm tonight. It's just a Monday night. That's all.
Babies are sleeping.
Yep. There you go. See what I did there? Johnny Dean laughing. Where's the dude? We had him on. Dylan, it's a shame because Okada and Slay combo would have been crazy.
Oh, my God.
Like you could share through your soul or stare through your soul, excuse me. Slay's a beast. And where is the dude tonight? He was here. Where is the dude? He was on. I have Twitch. Peter North would love to hear Nick Citro touched on both sides. Goodness gracious, guys. You really are scraping the bottom of the barrel tonight. Good stuff. YouTube crew killing it tonight. Dylan, he came out in the post and said it was all about Pat. Everyone thought it was a shot. Yep. Hello, D. Casey. You're on Twitch, Johnny. I think everybody's everywhere tonight. It's awesome. We're on Twitch.
Yeah.
2 Facebook platforms. Actually, 1 Facebook platform. That'd be Bucks Report, YouTube, and, of course, on
it's going to take you 5 hours to read all the comments at this point. We got 5 platforms going.
We're almost done now. Dylan Casey, no sir. Nice. The VR link is for Twitch. Peter broke Hungry Howie's. They went bankrupt now. And great show. Pete says Rodgers shoe from Newport Richie. Thanks a lot for staying up here. So final thoughts, Nick Citro and the big board from Canada, Andrew Fulbear.
Final thoughts. I'll say, Mahomes got mega deal. He deserves it. I don't think you can go the direction of, playing the game with the draft. You got to pay elite players, and you figure it out after that. So, moving on to Shaq Barrett, I think he's going to sign the tag July 15th. He'll get his contract, probably next season. And they'll probably figure out Chris Godwin. I know we probably shouldn't be talking about him yet, but it's going to be down the pipeline. 12 months from now, 11 months from now, we're going to be talking about it. So, so Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, promote yourself. I mean, if you want a great follow, it's Nick Citro there. So at Nick Citro on Twitter. What else are you working on?
So we got the Vita Vea helmet. I kind of plugged that at the beginning. If you want to get in the contest, just go to my Twitter handle. It's right there at Nick Citro. Pretty easy. Just my name. And just follow the rules. You got to follow me, retweet it, and follow Bucks Report. Pretty simple. I'll randomly select somebody, and then I'll ship it out to you. Also, tomorrow, 2 p.m., we're going to be the first ever Ask Me Anything. I guess for me specifically, I don't know if it had been done in the past. It's going to be streaming on Facebook. So if you have questions about the draft, sports in general, you make sure to bring them at 2 o'clock. There's not going to be a really set time. I'll kind of just go for as long as there's questions, maybe for an hour max, and we'll see how it goes. So, if it's pretty successful, I'll do it next week, and we'll just take it from there. So.
There you go. Ask him anything. That would be Nick Citro, our analyst here on Bucks Report. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
Thanks as always, Peter.
All right, buddy. There you go. Good stuff. And then we got Andrew, the big board full bear out of Canada. Go ahead and promote yourself, and where can they follow you?
You can get me on Twitter at Andrew_Faubert. You can look for North Sports. I've been kicking around Bucks Report here for a while and stuff like that. Going to be having my show up here soon. Canada is having some internet issues, so give me a little bit to get that figured out, and then, I'll get back up on the shows here. My one final thought here on the Patrick Mahomes. Yes. A lot of people need to understand one thing. This contract is nice for players getting paid. Obviously, everybody likes to see players get paid, but this kind of money is how you can start getting players, when they're done, to start involving themselves into ownerships. Everybody wants to talk about the changes that have to happen around the leagues and stuff like that. This is the type of money that can help a guy like this get ownership of a team and start helping that kind of change. The man helped it on the Zoom call. We all know what I'm talking about. The man can do it now because he's got the contract. We all got to start following Patty Mahomes. The man's going to do us good here.
Absolutely. There you go. That's Mr. Andrew Fullbeard, the big board out of Canada. Thanks a lot for joining me here on this early Tuesday morning. All right, boss?
Not a problem. As always, Peter King, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. There you go. Andrew Fullbeard, the big board out of Canada. So here's what's going on. Let me read this final comment, and then we'll get off here. Remember, everyone, subscribe, follow, and share BR on YouTube, and stay tuned for some exclusive shows coming soon. First up is Anthony Bamunde and his update show, which should drop any day now. Of course, Ask Him Anything will be Nick Citro at 2 o'clock. Sports Talk 49 at 3:30 with Mr. Blake Anthony, who will have a special NFL guest, a former NFL football player. Then the debut, if I can talk, of the Outkick show at 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And then I will be on at 10 o'clock giving you what we always give you here, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web, and it will be an NFL edition. We'll also talk Bucks, but it will be definitely about NFL, what's going on in the NFL. And we'll take your phone calls. And again, join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook. Of course, live here on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitter, and tonight, Twitch. And we're a part of the Landry Football Network. So exciting things here. The Sports Web has gone national. It will only get bigger and better. And the reason why it does that, because of the web heads push it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks to the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Outkick, who will make his debut tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for the Outkick show. Thanks to Andrew Fullbeard and, of course, Nick Citro here of Bucks Report. So on this early Tuesday morning, what do we say to end the show? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night. You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand. Every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Bruce Arians here with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During these difficult times, it's important that we all show we care about our community's health. You could spread COVID-19 without knowing it. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance from each other, stay strong, and go Bucks.
Realizing my potential has been what my career has been all about. Things that I've dreamed about have actually come true.
And the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36. Unbelievable.
Things have happened in my life as I kind of hoped they would happen. It's been, just a complete evolution. You know, how I just kept kind of fighting and clawing to continue to power forward. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you keep trying to make progress. So when I look at over 20 years, I look how far I've come. But there's not one step that I took where I realized, look how far I've come. But those series of steps that I put together, I go, wow, that's quite a journey.